Hey friend, let's talk about the most powerful tool in audio mixing that a lot of people overcomplicate, and that's an EQ or equalization. If you've ever wondered why your mix sounds muddy or harsh or just off, EQ might be the secret sauce that you're missing. In this video, I'm breaking down what an equalizer does, why it's the best tone shaping tool, and how you can start using it like a pro, all in under 10 minutes. Let's hop in. So here I have a channel EQ loaded. And before we go into the different parameters of the EQ, I want you to understand something really important. An EQ is just a smart volume fader that turns the volume up or turns the volume down. In the same way you see here, this fader turns the track up or turns the track down. And the reason why it's a smart volume fader is because you can actually turn up or down specific frequencies in that instrument. So you can essentially control the tone of the instrument. You can turn up the good sounding parts of the instrument and turn down the bad parts, the muddiness, the rumble that you want to get rid of. Now I want to demonstrate how EQs play a vital role in shaping the tone of our mix so we can really get a professional sounding mix. So what I've done is I've highlighted all the channels that have an EQ plugin loaded as the first insert. I'm going to play the track with the EQs enabled, and then I'm going to disable the EQs, and you can hear the difference between the two. So let's hit play. Now I hope you had headphones on because the contrast was night and day. So if you notice here, we have a range on the frequency spectrum. It starts off at 20 Hertz, goes all the way up to 20,000 Hertz or 20 kilohertz. And this represents the range of human hearing. All the way down to 20 Hertz, it's more of the frequencies that you feel. You feel it more than you hear it. And all the way up to 20 kilohertz, you get that air and crispiness in the mix. Hey, if we haven't met yet, my name is Ivan. This channel is all about helping you create radio-ready mixes from home. And I have a gift for you. Head on over to mymixingchecklist.com to download your free 9-step mixing checklist. It's designed to guide you through the process of mixing a song from start to finish. Absolutely free. It's my gift to you for hanging out with me today. Now there's 3 parameters that we're going to focus on. We have the frequency, the volume, and what's called the Q. This frequency parameter allows us to select what area in the frequencies we want to boost or cut, so we can move it along the spectrum here. Now, the next parameter allows us to boost those frequencies or cut those frequencies. We'd want to cut some of those unwanted frequencies, let's say around 300 Hertz, where it might sound muddy or boxy. And we can boost the frequencies, let's say around 2 kilohertz for some more presence in the guitars, for example. Now, the Q allows us to select how narrow or how wide we want to affect that frequency area. Me personally, I'd rather that it be called bandwidth because it's affecting the width of that frequency band. So the way it works is the lower the Q value, the wider the band. So let's look at that here. I'm lowering the Q value and the band is getting wider, affecting more frequencies in that range. And if I increase the Q value, I get a more precise EQ band. Now, a wider Q gives you a more natural sound, whereas a narrow Q allows you to be more precise. Maybe there's a resonant frequency, a harsh sound that's poking through the mix, and so you can just attenuate that specific harshness, and that's something we call surgical EQ. Now in Logic Pro's stock EQ that we're using now, we have 4 bands that we can manipulate. We can boost and cut in different areas. And we also have what's called a low shelf and a high shelf. And we can use the low shelf as a way to increase the frequencies in a more broad way. Maybe we want some more low end, so we can increase the low shelf to affect those frequencies. Or maybe we want to attenuate it. Maybe there's too much low end, so we can go the other way and attenuate those frequencies. And then we have our Q at the bottom, and that will affect the slope. We can see here how it affects the shape of that processing. And then we have a high shelf that does the same thing. It's a more broad EQ move where we can increase the frequencies in the high end, and that'll add some more air, some more crispiness. Or maybe you want to decrease that frequency range in a broad sense because overall it's too crunchy or it's a little too harsh or brittle, so we can attenuate those frequencies there. And again, we have the Q to affect the slope. Then we have a high pass filter. It allows the highs to pass through while it cuts out the lows. It's also known as a low cut. Let's hear what that sounds like on the entire mix. Then we have these two parameters that control the slope. Do we want a steep slope or a more gradual slope? And then we have our Q again, and that affects the shape of the slope as well. And on the other end of the spectrum, we have a low pass filter, also known as a high cut filter. And this does the opposite of the high pass or low cut. Let's hear what that sounds like on the entire mix. Here we go. Then again, we select the frequency. These two parameters affect the shape of the slope. So to recap, an EQ is simply a smart volume fader with three main parameters. First, we want to select the frequency range that we want to affect. Second, we're going to decide whether we want to boost or cut the volume of that frequency range. And then with our Q, we're going to decide how narrow or how broad the cut or boost is. All right, so now you've got the lowdown on what an EQ is, what it does, and how you can use it to make better mixes. But here's the thing, knowledge is only half the battle. The real magic happens when you apply this stuff. So I challenge you to fire up your DAW and start experimenting. And hey, before you go, don't forget to grab your 9-step mixing checklist at mymixingchecklist.com. It's a total game changer for your mixes and it's absolutely free. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you in the next one. And remember, you've got this.